Enough is enough. If your brain only worked when things were easy, you wouldn't be here. The real problem isn't discipline. It's that your mind shuts down the moment something feels hard. Today, you're not motivating yourself. You're hacking the system that tells you to quit. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat down to do something difficult, and your brain immediately started offering you exits? Maybe I should check my phone real quick. I'm not really in the right headspace for this. I'll do this later when I have more energy. Your brain is not your friend. It's a survival machine optimized for a world that no longer exists. And until you understand that, you'll keep losing to it. Here's what they don't teach you in school. Your brain is trying to kill your potential, not out of malice, out of design. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that wants to build your business, finish your degree, create something meaningful. It's fighting a war against your limbic system, which just wants you comfortable, safe, and sedated. Every time you face something hard, your amygdala screams threat. Your body floods with cortisol, and your conscious mind, that little voice that thinks it's in control, scrambles to rationalize why you should quit. Most people lose this battle every single day. They think they're making decisions. They're not. They're being hijacked. But there's a way out. It's called metacognition, and it's the closest thing to a cheat code for the human brain. Metacognition is thinking about thinking. It's stepping outside your own consciousness and watching yourself like a scientist observing a lab rat. Sounds simple? It's not. Most people have never had a single metacognitive thought in their entire lives. They're passengers in their own minds, completely identified with every fear, every impulse, every excuse their brain generates. You know what's terrifying? You've probably made fewer than 10 genuine decisions in the last month. The rest were just automatic responses dressed up as choices. Your brain ran a subroutine, generated a feeling, and you called it what I wanted to do. But when you develop metacognition, you become the programmer instead of the program. You start seeing the patterns, the triggers, the predictable ways your brain tries to sabotage you, and once you see them, you can exploit them. Let's get technical for a moment because understanding the machinery makes you dangerous. Your brain operates on two systems. Daniel Kahneman called them System 1 and System 2, but let's call them what they really are: the animal and the engineer. The animal is fast, emotional, energy efficient. It makes 95% of your decisions. It's why you scroll instead of study. It's why you eat garbage. It's why you know exactly what you should do, but somehow never do it. The engineer is slow, logical, energy expensive. It's the part of you watching this video and nodding along. But here's the problem. The engineer only gets 5% of the decision-making power, and it gets exhausted after about 20 minutes of real work. Every productivity guru tells you to use your willpower and stay disciplined. They're idiots. You can't out-willpower your biology. The animal always wins a direct fight, but metacognition doesn't fight the animal. It studies the animal, predicts the animal, and tricks the animal into doing what the engineer wants. That's the game, and nobody's teaching you how to play it. Layer 1, the observer. First, you need to create distance between you and your thoughts. Right now, when your brain says, "I don't feel like it," you believe that's you talking. It's not. It's just neural noise. It's the same mechanism that makes you crave sugar and avoid conflict. It's evolution, not wisdom. Here's the practice. When you're about to do something hard and resistance shows up, narrate it out loud in third person. He's feeling resistance right now. His brain is generating the thought that he should check his email. His heart rate is elevating slightly. He's scanning the room for distractions. He's looking for an escape. Sounds psychotic? Good. Sanity is overrated and clearly hasn't gotten you where you want to be. This simple act of narration creates psychological distance. You're no longer identified with the resistance. You're observing it. And observation changes behavior at a fundamental level. There's actual neuroscience here. When you narrate your experience, you activate your prefrontal cortex and dampen your amygdala response. You're literally rewiring the circuit in real time. But you have to do it consistently, not once when you feel motivated. Try this right now. Whatever you're avoiding today, narrate your resistance to it, out loud. Feel how alien it becomes when you describe it like you're watching someone else. Layer 2, the pattern recognizer. Your brain is predictable, pathetically predictable. Once you start observing, you'll notice you sabotage yourself the same way every time. Same time of day, same type of task, same excuse with different words. I want you to understand something dark. You are not a complex mystery. You're a simple machine with about 5 failure modes that repeat endlessly. Most people never discover what those 5 modes are. They just keep running into the same walls and wondering why their face hurts. Here's your assignment. Keep a resistance journal for 2 weeks. Every single time you avoid something hard, document it with surgical precision. What was the task? What time was it? What was your energy level? 1, 10. What excuse did your brain generate? What emotion accompanied the excuse? What did you do instead? How did you feel after avoiding it? By day 14, you'll see the algorithm. You'll know exactly when and how you betray yourself. And the patterns will be so obvious you'll want to punch yourself for not seeing them earlier. Maybe you always quit right after lunch when your blood sugar crashes. Maybe you only procrastinate on creative work, never on busy work, because creation carries the risk of judgment. Maybe you're fine until you hit the first moment of confusion, then you bail immediately because you've never learned to tolerate not knowing. These patterns are your source code, and you can't debug code you refuse to read. Layer 3, the architect. This is where it gets interesting. Now that you can observe your thoughts and recognize your patterns, you can start designing your cognitive environment. Most people try to force themselves through their weak points. That's stupid. You don't fix a broken machine by yelling at it. You redesign the system so the machine doesn't break. If you know you always quit at 3 p.m. when your glucose crashes, you don't fight it with willpower. You architect around it. You schedule hard tasks between 9, 11 a.m. when your prefrontal cortex is fresh. You have a specific snack ready at 2:45. You schedule shallow work for the afternoon crash window. If you know your brain generates "I'm too tired" when you haven't even started, you create a pre-task ritual that's so small your brain can't generate resistance to it. Not write for an hour, just open the document. Not go to the gym, just put on gym clothes. If you know you get distracted by your phone, you don't trust yourself to resist it. You put it in another room. You use app blockers. You delete social media during work hours. You architect your environment so the good behavior is easier than the bad behavior. You're not trying to be more disciplined. You're trying to be more intelligent about your own psychology. Discipline is for people who don't understand themselves. Architecture is for people who do. Let me give you 7 specific techniques that will change everything if you actually use them. Technique 1, the 5-second window. Your brain needs 5 to 7 seconds to generate a rationalization for quitting. If you move before that window closes, you bypass the resistance entirely. The moment you think of the hard thing you need to do, count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And move physically. Stand up, open the laptop, grab your shoes, walk to your workspace. Don't think, move. Thinking is where you die. Mel Robbins popularized this, but nobody explains why it works. Here's why. Your brain can't run the procrastination subroutine and the movement subroutine simultaneously. By hijacking your motor cortex, you interrupt the cognitive spiral before it starts. It feels stupid. It works anyway. Use it. Technique 2, the difficulty audit. Before any hard task, write down the difficulty you predict it will be from 1 to 10. Be honest. Then set a timer for 10 minutes and start the task. When the timer goes off, rate the actual difficulty you experienced. Do this for 20 different tasks. You'll discover something disturbing. Your brain consistently overestimates difficulty by 3 to 5 points. The thing you rated as an 8 was actually a 4. Your brain is systematically lying to you about how hard things are. Once you have data proving your brain is a liar, you stop trusting its assessments. The fear loses its power because you know it's just a bad prediction algorithm, not reality. This is metacognition in action. You're using evidence to override emotion. Technique 3, the negotiation protocol. When massive resistance shows up, don't fight it head on. You'll lose. Instead, negotiate with your brain like it's a hostage situation. Okay, I hear you. You don't want to do this. How about we just do 10 minutes? Just 10 minutes, then we can quit guilt-free. Your brain will usually accept this deal because it seems reasonable. But here's the dark truth. Starting is 90% of the battle. Once you're 10 minutes in, the resistance vanishes about 70% of the time. The activation energy was the only real barrier. You're not compromising. You're manipulating yourself, and that's exactly what you need to do. Technique 4, the energy inventory. Most people treat their energy like it's infinite, and then wonder why they collapse at 2 p.m. Start tracking your energy in 90-minute blocks. Every 90 minutes, rate your mental energy, 1 to 10, and note what you just did. After 1 week, you'll see which activities drain you and which restore you. Then ruthlessly reorganize your day around your energy curve. Do deep work when you're at 8 to 10 energy. Do administrative garbage when you're at 4 to 6. Rest and input activities when you're below 4. This alone will double your output because you'll stop trying to do calculus when your brain is running on fumes. Technique 5, the trigger mapping. Your procrastination isn't random. It's triggered by specific environmental and emotional cues. Make a list of every time you procrastinate procrastinated this week. Now look for the trigger that happened right before. Was it an email? A thought about judgment? Walking past your bed? Feeling confused? Map the trigger to the avoidance behavior. Once you see the chain, you can break it. When you notice the trigger, you can choose a different response. Example, if confusion triggers avoidance, create a rule. When confused, I will write down 3 questions I need to answer, not switch tasks. You're hacking your own conditioning. Technique 6, the accountability audit. Who in your life makes you sharper and who makes you weaker? Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Next to each name, write whether they raise your standards or lower them. Be honest. That friend who always wants to just chill when you have work to do, they're lowering your standards. That colleague who complains about everything, they're teaching your brain that effort is futile. You don't have to cut people off, but you do have to architect your social environment. Spend more time with people who make hard things look normal. Their metacognitive habits will rub off on you. Technique 7, the weekly autopsy. Every Sunday, spend 30 minutes reviewing your week with brutal honesty. What hard things did I do? What was my win rate? What hard things did I avoid? What pattern emerged? What excuse did I use most often? What environmental factor made me weak? What will I architect differently next week? Write this down. Track it over months. You'll start seeing meta patterns, patterns in your patterns. That's when you become dangerous. Here's what nobody tells you about metacognition. Once you develop it, you can't unsee what you see. You'll watch other people make excuses, and you'll see right through them because you've seen through your own. You'll watch people destroy their lives with the same predictable patterns, and you'll feel a strange mix of pity and contempt. You'll sit in meetings where someone says, "I just don't have time," and you'll know they mean, "I haven't prioritized this and I'm lying to myself about why." You'll see friends sabotage themselves with perfect consistency, and you'll realize you can't save someone who won't observe themselves. You'll realize most people are sleepwalking, and you'll realize you were too. This awareness is lonely, but it's the price of power. You can stay comfortable in delusion, or you can see reality and act on it. You don't get both. If you really want to hack your brain, you need to make metacognition a lifestyle, not a technique you try when motivated. Every morning, spend 5 minutes asking, what will I resist today? What excuses will my brain generate? What's my plan to override them? What's my energy going to look like? How will I architect around my weak points? Every evening, review the day. When did you win? When did you lose? What pattern emerged? Did you follow your architecture, or did you improvise and fail? What will you do differently tomorrow? Every week, look at your resistance journal. Calculate your win rate. Notice if it's improving. Adjust your systems based on the data, not on how you feel about them. Every month, zoom out. Are the same patterns showing up? If you're still avoiding the same type of work after 30 days of trying, you haven't actually changed anything. You've just thought about changing. This isn't motivation. This is engineering. You're running experiments on yourself and optimizing based on results. Now let me ask you something uncomfortable. How long have you known you need to change? How many videos have you watched? How many books have you read? How many times have you promised yourself, this time will be different? The information isn't your problem. Your unwillingness to observe yourself honestly is. You can watch this video, nod along, feel inspired for 20 minutes, and then do nothing. Most people will. They'll go back to being strangers to themselves, wondering why life feels so hard. Or you can pause right now, open a document, and start your resistance journal. You can commit to 2 weeks of ruthless self-observation. You can actually implement one technique instead of consuming the next video. The choice is yours, but let's be clear. Choosing nothing is still a choice, and you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. Here's something most self-improvement content won't tell you. This will never feel good. Observing yourself honestly is uncomfortable. Seeing your patterns is humbling. Admitting you've been running the same broken program for years is painful, but comfort is how you got here. Comfort is the enemy of everything you want to become. Metacognition isn't a hack that makes hard things easy. It's a tool that makes hard things possible. There's a difference. You'll still feel resistance. You'll still have moments where you want to quit, but you'll see those moments coming. You'll recognize them for what they are, and you'll have a system to move through them anyway. That's all you need. Not the absence of resistance, but the ability to act despite it. Your brain is a machine, and like any machine, it can be understood, optimized, and controlled. But only if you're willing to do something 99% of people refuse to do. Look at yourself without flinching. Stop asking, why can't I just do the thing? Start asking what pattern is running right now and how do I interrupt it. That's metacognition. That's power. That's how you stop being a passenger and become the pilot. Most people will never do this. They'll keep blaming circumstances, genetics, bad luck, other people. They'll stay comfortable in their confusion. But you're not most people, are you? If this made you uncomfortable, good. Subscribe for more uncomfortable truths. And if you actually start a resistance journal this week, leave a comment with day one. Let's see who's serious and who's just another consumer. The algorithm doesn't want you to see content like this. Prove it wrong. The unobserved mind is a prison. Observation is the key. Most people die without ever finding it.